It's day 19 out of 25 of betting on the horses and the football and the Wimbledons and the things so that I can make some money to afford to eat some cheeseburgers during the kids' summer holidays, which starts in a week's time. What a match last night, England versus Netherlands. Ollie Watkins getting a last-minute goal. You love to see it. You love to see England in a final. Sunday is going to be a lot of fun. I ran my bets at a loss yesterday, although I thought Saka was onside when he scored that goal, personally, in the replays. Commentators weren't so sure. Ali McCoy was like, yeah, he's off. No, he wasn't. He was on. And I thought that should have been, like, the automated offside now takes like 1.2 seconds. I think they could have spent a little bit more time looking at that, personally. Would have turned my bets yesterday from a losing set to a winning set, but we're still up in the football. We're still up in the semi-finals. One losing game doesn't make us a losing loser. Looking at the bets, Virgil van Dijk just didn't get his single foul, so that was an odds-on, quite big stakes bet that lost. Selavi, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. We died by that one, but Harry Kane got his shot on target. Jude Bellingham, we laid him to get a shot on target, and that one came in. Laying the halftime score to be 0-0 was the easiest, lowest sweat bet that I've had in some time. And then the sort of interrelated England to win an over 1.5 and both teams to score an over 2.5 in the match. Both came in. None of the players got a card, but plenty of other players did. So we probably ran a little bit unlucky there. And then if you had access to the Player XG tool at Bookie Bashing, you may have noticed after team news that Xavi Simons was huge value first goal scorer over here. He was huge value first goal scorer over here. He was huge 110, 120% EV value at EV value is the same as ATM machine. That's a redundant acronym. At the exchanges. The exchanges quite simply hadn't taken account of the increase to his XG compared to the rest of the players on the pitch based on his starting position for Spain, and were overpriced for first goal scorer. And it's really good to see high odds, high EV bet like Simons come in. So, we're not obviously including that in our set of results. We only include the bets we discuss in the video, and if there happens to be lots of opportunity after team news, so be it. On Sunday, I'm going to use the opportunity to make a day of this. The local town, I think, is putting screens up in the park. There'll be street food. It looks like it might even be a sunny day, heaven forbid. And what an opportunity for the kids to really get engaged with the feeling, the crowd feeling of England at the final of a major tournament. Meaning I'm going to sack off team news and just look at what I can get on earlier in the day, sacrifice a little bit of equity to actually make some memories with the family. Someone got in touch as well about a bet from few days ago, last week, Hakim Calhanoglu. I mean, it could have been an easier one to say. We'd logged him as a winner to get a card. Was in fact a loser. Thank you very much for letting us know. We have changed that now. Sometimes you can... I think it was either... Flash scores are very often guilty of giving someone a yellow card and then the next day they change it to someone else. Or the exchange markets sometimes settle bet as a winner, and then a little bit later, they resettle it as a loser. And when you're using those 2 points of reference manually, and you're doing hundreds and hundreds of bets, as we are here, occasionally something like that can slip in. But that's why we put all the information up publicly, because we can't hide in plain sight. If someone spots something like this, we'll change it. It changed our overall ROI from 24% to 22%. Hopefully not a major problem. Okay, so today, like on day 19 and day 20 and day 21, there's no football. So day 22 we'll have some football. And it got me thinking, I might just start looking at a few other sports just for the end of this series. I'll be betting on all of these myself, right? And I'll stick to the mantra of not using online soft bookmakers. So your Bet365s and your VBets. Now, if you've got them, and you have the tools and trackers at Bookie Bashing, or even if you don't have the tools and trackers at Bookie Bashing, you have a wealth of opportunity to actually make some money, play some value bets. Remember, it doesn't matter if they lose, you place enough value bets and you'll be in profit over a large data size. But they also come with restrictions and difficulties for betting, which is why someone like me and other people that have been doing this for a long time move towards trying to value bet on the exchange and in shops, which is harder with lower ROI, but hopefully there is you can have a look at archive data and historical bet histories and see that there's certainly opportunity there. So in terms of the bets I'm going to be doing on other sports today, the first one was an exchange bet. Warrington versus Leeds in the Rugby League. On the exchanges, I was able to lay Warrington minus 8.5 at 1.65 because I thought that looked a little low, but 105% low. It should be a little bit higher than that. So that's a lay of Warrington minus 8.5. Then there's some golf. Now, I said previously I wasn't going to be doing golf, but then I had a look, the Scottish Open has started, so we won't be talking about that. The PGA tournament in America has started, so we won't be talking about that. But we do have LIV, and the odds are very high for a handful of players at both Betfred shops and William Hill shops. So these are quite easy to get on. Plenty of those shops up and down the high streets. 5 places, 1 to 5. So the following golfers I'm on, and I'm not going to be using a unit win to 200 on the golf. It'll be a unit win to 1,000 with an each way win. That's not very well explained. It will be the win will be a part of the each way bet will be unit win to £1,000. For example, if it was 100 to 1, it would be a tenner each way, £20 overall bet. And if it won, win 1,000 for the win and 200 for the place because it's 1 to 5 odds. God, butchered that, didn't I? And the golfers I'm going to be on are Andy Ogletree, 300 to 1, Graham McDowell, 150 to 1. Abraham Answer 30 to 1 and Patrick Reed 28 to 1. And then over at William Hill, John Catlin at 50 to 1. Now, there's an interesting thing about LIV. If you, we're running our golf results something like 5% ROI in 2024, which is much lower than previous years when it's been north of 30 and sometimes hitting 40. But if you took LIV away, we're north of 25% because LIV seems to be the tournament where nothing's coming in. Now, there could be the argument that the players just don't care enough and it's much harder to model. You have your Brooks Koepka who wins the US Open and then goes in a 3-day bender and turns up to LIV. It's not the kind of thing you would see on the PGA and DP World Tours. But for me, that argument could be counter-argued with, well, if it's harder to model, it's harder to model for everyone, and the opportunity actually there is greater for people to pick up odds that, I think 150 to 1. I don't think Graham McDowell's going to win the tournament. Is he going to finish in the top 5 1 out of every 30 times? He has been competitive recently. So possibly. I know it's running a terrible return on investment, but also you would need years and years and years of LIV tournaments just to look at the historical data and prove that a model is working sufficiently or not. So I'm happy to place these, and I'm going to include those in the in this video today. There is some darts on the weekend, but I'm not going to look at the darts until tomorrow or Saturday at the earliest, anyway. And on the horses, okay. The first one at William Hill is a lucky 15. Here it is, by the way. It'll be Berrygate, 11 to 1. Old Mexican, 50 to 1. 5 places, 1 to 5. And Leopardstown looks like a bet. Sparkling Red at 9.5. And Hersaver at 19. I've doubled up on Hersaver. We're going again with her. Hersaver in the next lucky 15 with Delegate This Lord, Zadkiel, and Gitao, and then in the third one, Bright Dick, Frank the Spark, King of the Jungle, and Flow State at 7 to 2. And the last one at William Hill will be Monticello, Hurt You Never, Pagula, and Castle Cove at 2.87. At Betfred, there will be 2 lucky 15s. The first one will be Strive, Alanya, Blue Drum, and Istanbul at the 4:20 at Doncaster. And the second and final lucky 15 for the horses today, Saatchi at 7 to 2. Delegate This Lord at 16 to 1, Morse at 18 to 1, and in the 7:35 at Newbury, Vanish at 6 to 4, 3 places, 1 to 5. That looks okay to me. Good luck with your bets, and we will be back tomorrow.